Hi everyone, it's Ben here. Welcome to podcast number 1. Today we'll be talking about what we have upcoming in the Doctor Who universe, as well as talking about what we think happened in the Time War. So this may have potential spoilers. And so will all my future videos. But I will say that at the beginning of every episode. I'm sorry if you can't hear me incredibly clearly. I'm not well at all today. I'm actually lying in bed while doing this podcast. So yes, apologies for that. Okay, so let's start off by talking about the 50th anniversary. Now, 50 years is a big accomplishment. Even 10 years of a show is a pretty decent accomplishment. But I'm going to be discussing why I think it's lasted quite a long time, and I'm going to refer back to this quote that Karen Gillan, who played Amy Pond, said in a documentary, and she said, "The show is so popular because the actors change on a semi-regular basis, and therefore keeps the show fresh." And I think that's an incredibly good point. And it's so true. I mean, 50 years, but we've had 11 Doctors so far. And of course we have the 12th Doctor, Peter Capaldi, coming up next year. And which is going to be really good. He's a really talented actor. And for those of you who are saying, "Oh, he's not hot, the Doctor has to be hot," I'd rather you just leave this video right now, to be honest. Sure, I'm not saying it's wrong for the Doctor or the companions to be good looking. That may help the show. But at the end of the day, it's about being a great actor. And that's what the show started out as. William Hartnell, Patrick Troughton, Jon Pertwee, Tom Baker, Peter Davison, Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy, Paul McGann. They were all great actors. They are all really amazing actors. And the thing about Doctor Who is it starts. You start off. You'll see the character progression and the actor progression. If you look at any of the interviews, you see how connected and passionate these actors are about what they do. I think that's a great thing. So yeah. Okay, enough babbling about that. Yeah, I think again what Karen Gillan said. It keeps the show fresh. And you know, over the last 7 to 8 years, we've had 2 showrunners, both Russell T Davies and Stephen Moffat, and you see how the show has changed, really. And I'm really looking forward for David coming back. Not just because he was the 10th Doctor, and he is amazing, by the way. But I'm looking forward to seeing how he, as not just as the Doctor, but as David Tennant, deals with becoming with the 11th Doctor, Matt Smith, because you know it's like seeing a completely different person, but not a different person. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And we have the Zygons returning, and they're one of my favourite monsters. For those who haven't watched the Terror of the Zygons, I suggest you go buy it, or watch it on Netflix or whatever. I don't use Netflix, so I don't know how much they have. But yeah, go watch it. It's probably it's probably actually my favourite Tom Baker episode, apart from Destiny of the Daleks, which was just amazing. And now, for you Sarah Jane fans, you'll really enjoy Destiny of the Daleks because it has her and Harry in it, which is great. They're both great actors too. So yeah. I suggest watching that, and we're also seeing the Daleks. And the Daleks, they are a big part of Doctor Who. They first appeared in the second actual story of Doctor Who in 1963, or maybe it was early 64, one of them. But yeah, I think Daleks are a big part of Doctor Who. So yeah, in the last Dalek episode, which was Asylum of the Daleks, the Daleks don't remember them at the end because of what the first version of Clara did, or the first version known to us. So yeah, that was actually apart from the Emmy and Laurie's final episode, The Name of the Doctor and Nightmare in Silver, that was probably they're the only few episodes I really like in season 7. Season 7 was actually quite a letdown to me. I'm not blaming the actors actually. I think they all did a great job. I think it was the writing. I didn't really enjoy the stories. But anyway. So yes, we have Peter Capaldi coming next year, and it won't be airing until August. So we have another big break, which I think I speak for every Whovian everywhere. This is going to be very hard because we've just had this amazing 50th anniversary. Well, we don't know it's amazing yet, but 50 years, it has to be special, right? And we have Matt's regeneration scene in the end of this year. But I think we'll only see like probably about 60 seconds maybe of Peter Capaldi this Christmas, and then we won't really see what he's actually like until next year, on his first episode. So yeah, now that we've got that out of the way, that's kind of just an introduction into what we'll be talking about today. And I just want to point out, I'm doing this under one recording, so there won't be any editing whatsoever. And I don't have a script or anything. That's why I'm doing all the ums and ahs. But yeah, so we'll just get on with it now. So we're going to talk a bit about the Time War. So first of all, what do we know? We know the Doctor fought on the front lines. And we know it was between the 8th and 9th regeneration, and this was implemented even more with John Hurt being revealed to us. And I think part of the reason the wait is so long for the 50th is because of John Hurt. Who is he? You know, we assume he's the Doctor, but what sort of Doctor is he? We don't know, because the Doctor's kept him a secret from us, and there's been a lot of things going around saying he's the Valeyard, or could be the Valeyard, and I don't think it will be, because as we know, the Valeyard, if it's going to be known to us, will be between the 12th and 13th regeneration. So the next regeneration. And we know that this Doctor is in the past. So yeah. Anyway, we also, if you watch Rose, if you watch it really carefully, and I mean that. If I don't mean Rose as in the companion, I mean Rose as in the episode, by the way, which is, if you're wondering, the first episode that aired of New Doctor Who in 2005, I think it was. But yeah, so we know from that, if you watch that episode, you'll know or you assume that he's just regenerated, because he hasn't noticed his ears yet. So we think he may have just, of course, if he regenerated in the Time War, and that would be the most probable thing. Well, he wouldn't have had time to check out his face. He'd be fighting still, or if he wasn't fighting, getting the hell out of there. And we know that the Doctor had to kill, or he had to commit genocide on more than one species, both the Time Lords and the Daleks. But we also know there were other species involved in that war. And so he basically has to deal with all this. And you go watch when Rose says, no, I gotta look after Mickey. I gotta see my mum, make sure she's okay. The Doctor actually needs her, and I'm not a fan of Rose. I'll admit that right now. But the Doctor needs Rose, and Rose needs the Doctor. I think that's part of the. I think that's what a real companion is. Yeah. So yeah, we've got a lot of big things coming up. We are assuming this year we'll get to know a bit more about what happened in the Time War, and you know, the because it's just even more mysterious, Doctor Who now. I mean, we don't know his name first of all. I'm sure that that's, you know, pissed everyone off as much as me. But we need to know about the Time War a bit more, in my opinion. And one of my friends actually said to me, I don't think Doctor Who can continue like this. You know, because the Master's gone. We assume Davros is gone, but I don't really trust that, considering Davros comes back like every few seasons. Well, at least in the old ones he did. So yeah, he said the Time Lords need to come back, and I partly agree with that. I mean, they need something to you know, continue the substance of the show. But I don't think Time Lords is it. I think the Master needs to return, and I also think I think, yeah, I think the Master needs to come back, but I think that we also need to see an old companion come to the show, because it can't be Sarah Jane now. Sarah Jane is for those who didn't know, she died a few years ago, which is a sad thing. She is was I know she's a big part of Doctor Who's lives. She wasn't just an one Doctor, but she saw the regeneration. She was in the regeneration scene of the third Doctor to go to the fourth Doctor. And of course, Tom Baker. Everybody, you know, loves him. He's an amazing actor. I think he's part of the reason the show's continued on for all those years. But I also think he's one of the reasons that it disappeared. Because he was amazing at the Doctor. Not only was he amazing, his stories were amazing. The writers did amazing. I think we all need to look back at GOTD, which is Genesis of the Daleks. And if you haven't watched that episode, even if you think, oh, it's classic Who, it's just too boring, you need to watch this episode. It shows about the creation of the Daleks. For me, that was a great episode. That was like an inspiring thing, you know. It's one of those things you remember for ages, and I just think, wow, brilliant. Anyway, but not only was she in the third and fourth Doctor, she was also, well, not really a companion, but definitely a friend to the 10th Doctor and the 11th Doctor. If you're thinking, oh, what episode was that? That was in the Sarah Jane Adventures. Okay, so yes. So yeah, I think not only I think she's a really important companion because she knew Sarah Jane knows the Doctor both before the Time War and after the Time War, and I think the Time War was a genius thing. You know, it really helped develop the plot of Doctor Who, yeah, in the old ones, I think the genius plot is that the Time Lords seem to always need the Doctor's help. Although in the first two Doctors he was exiled. But yeah, I think it's amazing. So yeah, I think we should talk a bit about 8 now. And now I saw this thing today, which was the top 10 most memorable quotes from Doctor Who, and it said, the first Doctor was, what's that, my boy? The second Doctor was, when I say run, run. Third Doctor was reverse the polarity of the neutron flow, and so on and so on. But they had everyone except for 8, and I think 8 deserved much more time. And I read this few weeks ago, or a few months ago, watching this interview, and it was with the guy that actually cancelled classic Doctor Who, and I think it was an amazing episode, or an amazing thing. It was it talked about both New Who and Classic Who, and this interview is quite old. It was, I think, 2006 or 7. No, it must have been 2006. It was just after I think it was like an episode or two into David's reign of the Doctor. But yeah, so he basically said they needed to cancel it for the show's lasting, for the show to last even more. And I think they ended it on an impeccable note. Survival, wow, that was an amazing episode, and that kind of made me love Sylvester McCoy. And I'll admit my dad hates everyone after 5, but I think he's amazing. I think he's a great guy as well, actually. From all the interviews I've seen, Doctor Who's the sort of show that you need to be involved with the fans. Not like with the big blockbuster films, you don't see it as much. But I'm going to talk about Peter Capaldi's the interview with him when he was known as the Doctor, for his first interview, which was live. And people may have hated him then, and I think they still do in a way. But he said, the question was, why do you think Doctor Who has survived this long? And he said, because of the fans. We wouldn't be here without any of you guys. And that's a big thing to say. And it's quite true. But yeah, we also have to recognize what the actors have done, what the writers have done. They've made an idea into something amazing. But yeah, we'll leave that for now. So yeah, we got quite a big year coming up for Doctor Who. Within the next 12 months, we have season 8 starting to air, in the UK at least. We have the 50th anniversary and the Christmas special. So, of course, the poster was just released a few days ago, and I think this is going to be a great year for Doctor Who. So thank you, and good night.